Hi, on today's episode we have Kenya's leading fashion designer. She fuses African heritage with modern elegance. Ladies and gents, Kate Mayeye.
There's a dress that took me 3 months. My strongest suit is not customer service. There's a je ne sais quoi about my craft. No, some people might be influencers but don't have the influence. My main goal is to reach New York Fashion Week. Listen. My life changed.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
How was your day? What have you been up to today?
Oh, busy, but very productive.
Nice. What is your ideal wig?
Today I'm feeling midi, I think. Something bobbish, Bobbiana.
On this show, we do something totally opposite to what
Okay.
you'd
What somebody
expect.
wants. Okay.
When you're purchasing a wig, because I know you're a wig girl, what do you look? What are your key things you look at before you make a purchase?
Number one is functionality, because my days are normally busy. I move around a lot. I want something, if I squat down or I go down, I get up, I'm trying to adjust a dress, pin something. It's something that doesn't get in my face a lot, and something that's manageable, like on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I look at first. So my main key, like if I want a daily wig, that's what I look for. And then there's the one for sleep. But this, but my normal daily wigs, I want something that I can easily function with and it doesn't get too much on my face or interfere with work. Imagine me pinning a client's dress and the hair is in between, you know? Yes.
Okay, let me get our wig.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
Girl. Yvette.
so we're going to do Kylie,
Okay.
something different
Yes.
from what you'd normally wear.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see how you will find it.
Okay.
I'd
Cool.
appreciate feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it something that you'd wear, or it's too much, or it's easy to manage? Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I like that. I like the entire concept already. I like this already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, who is Kate? How would you describe yourself?
Ooh. One, I'm intense. So by intense, I mean I love hard. I hate hard. If I dislike, I dislike. If
There's
I love,
no
I
in
love.
between.
Yes, there's no in between. I don't manage anything. So that's one. I am very family oriented because I come from a big family, so it has really shaped how I move. I'm easy to make friends with, although I can be distant at first until I get to know somebody. But yeah, that's basically me. I used to be fun, but now I'm a bit more serious.
Why?
Life and business, you know. So when it's fun, it's fun. When it's work, it's work. You know, I get so intense. Like I said, I'm an intense person. So for me, I think my work has really become who I am. It has really shaped how I move. So when I say I'm intense, I am intense. Yeah.
Even in your work.
Yes, at work and at home. Yeah.
So, when you are a fashion designer, would you describe yourself as a fashion designer?
Oh, 100%. I'm a self-taught fashion designer. I haven't been to like a proper school and got a certification as a designer, but I have taken courses that have shaped the journey of who I am today. Yeah.
At what point did you make the decision to become a fashion designer?
I started off in marketing. So first I went to marketing school, and I realized this is something that I really like to do, marketing. And then I used to be a very stylish person in school, and you know, generally like my vibe was always to stand out. So my first job, I did a lot of those marketing jobs that you do when you're in college or uni or whatever. That's where I started at. Then from marketing, I went into, I was hired at Kiss 100 as I was once a marketer at Kiss. So we used to sell the ads at Radio Africa Group. So one day I remember, very funny. So one day when I was at work, KISS used to have 2 floors. Radio Africa used to, I think it still has 2 floors. So downstairs is the office work, the admin, now the marketers and stuff. Then upstairs is now the radio people, the presenters and stuff. So one day I was trying to key into the system to enter the office, and Patrick Kwako came behind me. And I kept trying to log in, and I was wiping the screen. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure you're supposed to be on this office? I think the way you look like somebody who's on the 3rd floor." I was like, wow, God damn it, what am I doing in this office? You know, so from there I went into other jobs that also still entailed marketing and PR. I started my own business, and I kind of slowly found my way into my calling, which is now the fashion business. Yeah.
So what's made that decision to switch from marketing to now fashion?
So number one, I remember after having my first child, I sat down and realized I had a joint business with a friend. Then I realized I needed to create a
In
business.
fashion still?
No. We had, we used to do events. It was a, consultancy business. So we used to do events, consultancy, do PRs and stuff. I remember one of our gigs was organizing events for Beyond Zero and Ahadi Kenya Trust. I worked in the NGO with Ahadi for a long time, and till this day we still work with the Ahadi Kenya Trust. We used to go for campaigns and train people on how to eradicate jiggers. So I did the NGO philanthropy, like field work for a while we still owned the company. And then after giving birth, I needed to find something that would ground me first. And then secondly, it was important to start something that would build generational wealth, right? And then also one thing that I also saw was there was a niche market in the field, because I used to see almost everybody was doing around the same thing. Most of the outfits that you would see in the market is H&M but African, right? So like it was just the basic boring stuff. I know some people will kill me for this, but that's what I saw as the Kenyan market. So I remember actually before we started our own business, I worked for Priya Chana Communications, and we were doing PR, a lot of PR and marketing. And one of our clients was AFAD Kenya, which was Association of Fashion Designers in Kenya at that time. And I was the champion of that account. So while we were building this, I kind of got to meet like those veteran designers back then, right? And for me, yes, you saw some interesting pieces on the runway, and I actually said, I think I can do this and even take it to a different level. So when now I started my own, my vision was to create things that were not normal to the Kenyan scene. You know, I find a lot of Kenyans were very chilled out. We manage things, you know. We are managing. So I kind of wanted to stand out, and that's always what I want. Like I promise you, every time any of my clients wears my outfits, I get calls in the middle of the event, like, "Kate, do you know," like that feeling that my client feels and how they own the room and all the compliments I get, that's what I want. So if it's not standing out for me, then why did I start this, you know? Yeah.
Okay, so you decided to start African Fabrics. It has been African Fabric all along?
Yes, it's always been African Fabric and Designs Kenya Limited. And I was very intentional with that because I didn't want to call it the Kenyan Fabrics, because I honestly don't work with a lot of locally handmade fabrics, because there's always been like a scarcity in the market. What we can produce locally as Kenyans to sustain the Kenyan economy. So I knew I wanted to go to different African countries and bring Africa into Kenya, because there was that scarcity, right? So even when I started, and when I started it, I said, one, I wanted to stock a lot of African fabrics, and then now go into the design aspect. So even when I started the business, my first thing was to sell fabrics. So I sold fabrics for like 3 months before I even got a tailor. I had the machine, but I wasn't bothered to get the tailor. So the first 3 months for me was to sell fabrics. So I started by sourcing fabrics locally now, and luckily enough, I'm married to a Nigerian. So then we started getting fabrics from Nigeria into Kenya. So we introduced everything in moderation. So now I can proudly say I stock fabrics from at least 10 countries, or I can stand and I can design you a whole traditional outfit from different tribes in Africa. And you can
Nice.
source the fabric locally or get something similar from my store that's African. And also that's also part of another niche that I wanted to bring here, right? So sometimes I get clients who would come to me, who have, like maybe they went to Ghana one time and maybe that time they didn't have enough money to purchase what they wanted to purchase. And now when they came to Kenya, they're more settled, they're looking for something they need, and they will come and say, we're looking for authentic fabrics that are made in country X, Y, Z. I have South Africans who come to buy South African fabric in my store. They're like, oh my God, you know, even getting this in South Africa, because even the fabrics that we stock that are originally made in different countries, they have some have certain limitations. Like the Dagama print, you can only buy from their distributors. You can't buy from the factory directly. And then things like, I've had clients who came to my store and said, we're actually looking for traditional Ghanaian kente. And we went to different stores where we're being taken. Everybody says on Google that they're selling these kente fabrics, but when you reach there, it's not the original woven one. So when they come to my store, it's like a breath of fresh air. They get a variety from the traditional Ghanaian kente fabrics to the new ones, right? So I make sure I stock a huge variety of fabrics from different African countries. So hence the name African Fabrics first, and then the design is next.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you started by selling fabric.
Yes.
So take me through the journey of you selling fabric to catapulting to now being a leading fashion designer. Or when you came in around that time, were there other people doing this, or you created a niche for yourself?
So when I started, ideally, why I did even the African fabric things is because I remember when I was getting married and being married to a Nigerian then, in 2014, we were trying to get our traditional Nigerian wear for us to wear for the wedding. So it was either somebody brings it from Nigeria, or we go to, back then, our Lolo, Paulina George, was the only one who had this Nigerian fabrics and stuff. And it was inaccessible. Like it was there, but the affordability was not there at the moment. Back then, like she used to dress the king and queens of Kenya, you know, like the creme de la creme. So the price range was a bit out of the ballpark for us, because I remember back then we were just managing things, you know. Now I can afford her comfortably, but back then we were just, you know, getting into marriage, and we didn't have that large budget. So we were unable to access what I wanted from my wedding. Yeah. So with that, now created that thing of Kenyans are marrying outside a lot, right? So we needed to have things that you can easily source. And then from now fabrics, and then getting a tailor, because back then you just go to a tailor, right? Or if you can afford a designer, because trust you me, those are designers back then. If you wanted to go for the premium ones, it would cost you a pretty penny. It wasn't cheap. Or like the basic affordability. And then I also hadn't done a lot of research of who I would go to get the same. I wouldn't lie, you know.
Like where to source?
Yes. So now with that, there's a lot of people who are already doing tailoring and designing, but I hadn't seen somebody who was offering you variety. Do you get? Yeah. But Paulina George had always been there. So that one we knew, but the affordability wasn't there. So who was offering the same but was affordable, I couldn't get. Or I didn't know or have access to that information, you know. And then back then, people were not marketing online as well. That's also
Yes.
another thing. There was not a lot going on the online space, right? So that's why even when I started, I used to sell a lot online. Like the first day I started selling fabric, I think the first week I made 40K and I was over the moon. You guys, you have no idea.
This is from like friends within your circle or strangers?
No, strangers on the internet. I didn't even market to my Facebook friends. I opened a Facebook page first and started selling it on Facebook. I didn't even rate Instagram, let me tell you. I never rated Instagram back then. So it was just, I had an Instagram page, but I didn't see the need of opening it for business. So I started on Facebook, paid for ads, and then I was so intense. You know, as a marketer, I would eat, sleep my business. So on Facebook, on all these groups, I would make sure I share.
There's
Like
visibility.
share, I'm selling. Let me tell you, first week made 40K. In 2015.
It's good money.
You have no idea. You have no idea. Nobody could touch me. I had made my rent. My rent was 30K. So I've made 30K plus 10K on top. Like I had a very small shop. So I was like, I'm rich. You people are, I said my husband, see baby, me, I made 40K. First week, let me tell you, I was full gas on. I started getting now loyal clients that would buy almost every other week because nobody was selling online. So now when people started selling Ankara on social media in 2016.
So
After seeing me, I was intense. I was paying for ads. I was pushing on all pages. Like there was no way I was going to fail. I was determined to make it no matter what. So I had a goal that every day I must make money. Every day I must sell. And that's what kept me going.
So you're now on social media. Business, you said you were selling every day. The goal was to sell every day.
Yes.
So, and now you have return clients. Clients are coming back. What do you think you were doing at that time that would make people come back?
I think the most important thing that I did is ensure that every single money that I made from the business, I kept it aside. So every 2 weeks, I was restocking. Every 2 weeks, I was restocking, right? Because you can never go wrong with having assets, right? So I made sure that I was always stocked and I had variety.
And stock was moving?
Yes. That's why I was able to afford to buy stock every 2 weeks. Like I made sure every 2 weeks I had 100K to buy stock. Every 2 weeks. Because then I was stocking locally. Right? When I started by stocking fabrics from Isili. Right? So it was easy to get stock. So come 2016, everybody now was on social media. And then there was somebody who would buy from the same vendor that I would buy from, and then they would post it online. I remember one time I went to the vendor, I vexed. I said, there is no way you expect me to make sales. And you're stocking, you've allowed this person to also sell online. And they're selling in bulk. So how do you expect me to move my stock? Every 2 weeks I'm here spending more than 100K. So how are we sustaining our friendship? So they said, oh, we'll talk to the person to stop selling. And I knew that that could never happen, right? Because also them, they need to sell, right? So now to sustain clients, I had to keep looking for new vendors. So I got somebody else now who was stocking a different type of fabric coming in from Uganda. And which was now another new variety. So it maintained me having unique fabrics. Let me tell you, as much as I'm good in marketing, my strongest suit is not customer service. That one I would seriously say that, right? If it's data, I have enough data. But the customer service of like going back to clients, calling them, how is the service, and stuff like that, that has never been my strongest suit today, right? So one time I experimented with that was when I moved from now Adams Minimal to now go to my own building. That time I did intense, like I went back and sent messages to all my clients. We used to have 150 clients a week.
150 clients a week?
Walking through my doors when I moved to the new store. Parking was not enough. Space became small. Customer service went down. because the traffic was intense, right? Not enough staff. So I had to keep, like for me, the journey has been slow and steady. What do my clients need? What do I need? What I do is take in feedback. I'm a solution, for me, I'm a solution-based person, right? So I take feedback and I implement it. Right? So I used to ask my clients a lot, what are your challenges? Because having one-on-one conversations is me, right? So I would sit down with my clients, we're having conversations, they'll tell me this is my challenge coming to your store, this is my challenge dealing with employees, with your employees and things like this. And that's how I learned to like elevate. That was my version of customer service, right? And the other thing is to try and get in as new clients as well as much as possible, because that has always been my strategy. Because I believe sometimes, right, you can have a client that comes in every week and it gets to a point mnazoeana. So it reaches a point, how do I build this client? They are now family. You know, so for me that becomes hectic, and I feel like sometimes it's also important, even with your loyal clients, to sometimes take a bit of a break.
Take a break from your
Take
clients?
a breather, yes. let me tell you, right? Let me give you a scenario why. My business is very passionate.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate, right? It's difficult for me to detach. And I realized with time, when a client is a regular returning client, they're there all the time, you get so used to it that it crosses the friendship boundaries into family. So now the challenges of respect come in. Because this is personal. Design work is personal, like, especially if you're a bespoke designer, it's extremely personal. So you would kind of gel into each other. And sometimes when they know you too much, or they feel like they're learning you too much, you cross some boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. So sometimes it's good to detach a bit, and then when they come back, you have like new love. Like you haven't, like you see a long distance relationship, that space, and then when you come back together, they find you have improved your services, you have elevated your services, you have, you know, gone to another level, right? And then your talent is appreciated even more. So that even if the boundaries had been crossed, you can reboot. I don't know if it makes sense, because the way I run, I feel like I run my business. I run it like a family unit nowadays, right? So sometimes I actually feel like you need to take a break from each other, let them explore other areas, you know, because if you get used to me, you would not even want to buy pants from the store. And my specialty is gowns. You will want me to make pants. And then now we start having issues with fitting. And then you start saying, Kate is not good doing my services nicely again. But you forced me to go out of my service. Do you get? I don't know if it makes sense.
But when you say you have to give each other a break, there's no fear of losing a potential client, because I'm assuming when we take a break, we try and find new people.
Yes. The one thing that would never change with me and my business, elevation. We learn every day. I have WhatsApp group for different departments in my store. And every day, or at least every other day, I ensure that there's something we're learning in these groups. Our groups are strictly for learning. Like every day there's something new, whether it's customer service or how to talk to clients, a new way of approaching clients. I share this with my team every single day or every other day. So we are constantly learning, constantly evolving. I will ensure as long as God gives me this energy and this talent, that I'm always at the top. You would never beat me. I beg. I would rather go and train and retrain. I will always make sure I stand out, so that you try other people and you still have to come back.
It doesn't feel the same.
It will never feel the same. There's a je ne sais quoi about my craft. The way I think can never be copied, right? So that's the same thing, kind of like, you know, I've had people poach my tailors and stuff like that, but I don't see, I'm still not seeing it. Like, where's the elevation? So you kind of feel like you have to create something so that people can build off that, right? To recreate their own. Where's the originality? Do you get?
I got you.
So there's a way I think in terms of fittings, how I want to see my client, right? Versus how another business does it, right? And we're all different we're in the same field, but everybody does their stuff differently. So that's why I say I don't think this sauce can be recreated. Yeah. So I am never afraid of that. Actually, sometimes I do refer my clients, like they'll say, oh, Kate, I want a dress that's like this, and this is my regular client. I'll tell her, in all honesty, this is not my strong suit. I would recommend you to designer XYZ. That's what I do with my own personal clients, like clients I already know. If I don't know you, I cannot refer you, right? So the clients who know me and how I work, I would refer them strongly. I'll tell you, this is my strongest suit, this isn't. And I'm actually always very honest with the clients. We tell them, this is not our specialty. I think this would get better service here, right? But if you have somebody who has, like, loves you too much and you're so used to each other, it reaches a point they want you to do that for them because they'll tell you, me, I'm tired. I don't want to go to somebody else. I don't want to do another relationship, right? And this is not my strong suit. Then we will concern on something very petty that I already told you I can't do. So I always try to keep it 100 with the clients. You know, let's maintain this friendship that I do this. You get? Yeah.
You've mentioned something about poaching in the industry. Is that a common thing, or how is the industry generally? Is it collaborative? Is it?
So in the years of business I've been, it's highly competitive. Very few people have the spirit to collaborate. A lot of people I feel are very guarded. They're not open to doing things that bring the industry together. I don't know. You see, if you do a makeup masterclass, you would easily get clients. So you do a master class for people to learn how to make hair or learn how to do your weaving and wigging and stuff, you can easily get clients. But I doubt if you do an elevation master class and you're a Kenyan, you're just you as a Kenyan trying to do something that will elevate the craft, that you get fellow designers coming to the class. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I feel like the competition is too stiff, it's a bit toxic. So if you approach the industry from a toxicity level, it's there. And there are those who are willing to collaborate. And it's the same thing you will see, right? If you see how I do my posts, even on social media, if I have I've dressed a bride, right? And they send me pictures. The pictures have the bridesmaids, the other vendors, right? I would willingly tag. Like I would ask the bride, who did your bridesmaids? Who did your groomsmen? Who did this and this? Because I want to post a collective photo and have your page as a source of vendors, right? And it actually, the algorithms actually work in your favor. But you kind of figure out that a lot of designers don't offer you that grace. They will post your work. Let's say they did the menswear or the female wear, and I did the menswear. Very few would tag you. I'm like, why are we fighting, babes? Why are we fighting? You know, me, I'm not scared to collaborate. So I do that often. I actually do give credit to the person who does the other person's outfits. And they're in the photos, I make sure I give that credit. If they're not in the photo, I don't do that. But if they're in the photo, I definitely give credit.
Everyone gets their credit.
Yes. And sometimes you see people come and poach your staff or your tailors and stuff like that. And you're like, he's cool. I can go. But what I always say is go the right way. Give your notice, serve your space, you know. It's free world. You can't own anybody.
True.
You can only own your talent. Yeah. So I don't know whether the industry is collaborative or not. But I know I am. I am. When it makes sense for me, I collaborate. When it makes sense.
At what point did you, and I know you've spoken about generational wealth, did it click for you that this is it, this is what is going to build my wealth?
I think from the onset, I didn't build this business to just stay as a regular business. So I had a vision, and most importantly, I think from the first week, you know, that 40K was an eye opener. That 40K was an eye opener. But for one thing that I know about myself, I'm not somebody who plays it safe. I know that anything I touch must turn to gold. I mean, me, I'm a child of God. Oh. I know that God has, for me, I always pray and I pray a lot. And where I started noticing that I don't even know where this journey is going, but God is leading me, is the things that have happened to me in the years of business, right? So, yeah, I started in 2015, October, November, thereabout, right? In 2016, by August, even before August, actually, I think March, April, I was introduced to Angela Okori.
Really?
Yeah, by my friend then. There's a lady I went to high school with, right? And I started dressing her, you know, in 2016. She was called Juliet Ochieng. Juliet Ochieng. She was Miss Kenya 2004.
Yeah, I know her.
Yes. So Juliet, when she became a client, she was shooting a movie with some Nigerians. It was called Brother Jeku. She was one of the executive producers of that project with Mike Ezuronye, and Angela Okorie was part of the people
The
in
cast.
the movie. Huda was also part of the cast. And I remember she called me and said, and by then I hadn't even dressed her like that much. And she called me and said, Kate, come, I need you to meet somebody. There's somebody I want you to dress. And then she introduced me to Angela. And then Angela came to my shop, my small cubicle like this in Adam's Arcade, you know. And she came to my store, chose 3 fabrics, paid me in dollar. Paid me in dollar. I said, Now, so that they do for you. So these Nollywood people actually pay for clothes. That was in 2016. Me, I didn't know how to sew well. My sewing was just princess that. Put breast pad or not put breast pad. Use gum. You know, when I started tailoring now in 2016, yeah, the first thing I did was I told my sister-in-law, go to any tailor. Actually, they have a cousin who's a designer. So we paid her to make like 3 outfits for me. When those clothes reached Kenya, I ripped the entire inside to see how they sew the inside of clothes. Right? Because remember, my mom has had this tailoring business for years.
Oh,
right?
your mom had it?
Yes, my mom had this business. Yeah, I didn't start with that. My mom has had a design and fashion business from Kitambo. Right? So I ripped open the outfit and to see what are they using to make this, you know, especially the bust area was my biggest interest. Because, I mean, most tailors would literally tailor any part of the dress.
Yeah.
So I just needed to get the perfect bust area, because if you can get this part, then you can get most of the parts of the clothes. So that was my starting point. And when I met Angela and I did 3 looks for her, and that year her birthday is in August, I can't even forget, August 25th. She did the photo shoot in Nigeria and she tagged me. Listen. My life changed. My life changed for the better. So then I got an interview by, I remember, I've forgotten her name, or she will kill me. The first lady that interviewed me works for the Star newspaper. She was working at Radio Africa too. And from there, I just started getting, you know, PR attention. I did like 1 or 2 magazines. And I remember back in the day, 2016, 2017, my biggest hashtag was Made in Africa. There's no outfit I posted and I didn't put Made in Africa, right? And then one day in 2017, I'm just relaxing. I see a message. Hi, this is Sia from I don't know which company in South Africa. We're looking for the creative director of the company. We have a project with Amarula. Would like to reach out to her. So my staff showed me the message. I said, this one is a scammer. Why is somebody looking for me from South Africa for what? So I ignored it at first. They sent a message again. I told them, just tell them, hi, that the creative director will chat them back at the end of the day. The guy didn't wait. He called again. He now made a phone call. He said, these messages are not being answered. So he called and asked to speak to me. So I talked to the guy and I'm like, hi, how are you? So he said, we've been looking at your Instagram page. By then I didn't even I think I was just getting to 10K followers. So he sent me a message and said, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm Sia from South Africa. We run an agency and we've been going through your page and we shared your page and your work with our client as well. And they are interested in moving forward with a project to design a limited edition collection of Amarula bottles. I said, you're lying. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, we have our company. Amarula is our client, and they're designing a limited edition Amarula bottle. And they're featuring 3 regions of Africa, North, South, East, West. I said, okay, no problem. Then he said, you are going to be representing the East. I said, are you people blind? You have not seen Tanzania. You've not seen Uganda. They're better designers than me. Why are you looking for me? He said, babes, we submitted different profiles of different designers from all these East African countries. And the client wants to work with you. I said, it's a lie. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, send me your company. Send me your company information. Let me look into it. So I gave them the email and they sent me the formal proposal. Let me tell you, me and my husband were going through those contracts. Every single line, we dotted it. We're like, no, this is a lie. It was March of 2017. I can never forget. We were going through every line in that contract, like, nah. And they're asking for account. I said, let's give them dollar account. Then remove the money from that account. If they want to scam us, they will not get anything. It took me a while to actually get that these people were looking for me. I never felt like I was that big yet. And all glory to God, the project went through. I designed the bottle. They came back again and said, hey, Kate, we have another proposal. Because this was a paid gig, right? They said, we have another proposal. We want to turn the bottle into chocolates. So the same limited edition bottle, we're going to make it in chocolates. And we did a whole survey, and it was your bottle and the South African bottle that are being recreated. We were 4. So the person in Nigeria, they chose a Nigerian to represent West, and he was a furniture designer. Up North was a textile designer who also did, I think, was also a fashion designer. And then the one in South Africa was a jewelry designer, and I was a fashion designer. And that is how things kept falling on my lap. And I was like, wow. Yeah, I know be small girl. I'm a big girl and I'm a big deal. And that's when I started taking my work serious. And I became very intent in elevation, doing new things all the time, doing a lot of research, doing things that are elevating where I want to go. That's what I do.
Interesting. I know you've also done Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. How was that experience? Or first, how did you come to actually even
Go to New York?
Yes.
Yeah, so I remember first I did Thai Silk Fashion Week.
You did what?
Thai Silk Fashion Week in 2022. That was also another thing. Let me tell you, my journey is this goals. Let me tell you. Because things fall on my lap. Why do they fall on my lap? Because najituma. I don't sit and wait for opportunity. Opportunity must come and find me. But it will not find me nimezuba. I make sure I am doing things that those opportunities will fall on my lap. Because for me to go to Thai Silk Fashion Week, it was I dress Siombua Ocean and Ocean the husband, right? And he's a teacher, right? So he writes all this comical stuff and stories of teaching and stuff. You should follow him. He's an interesting guy.
He teacher?
Yeah. He does, I don't know whether he's a former teacher or not, but anyway.
But he teaches.
Yeah, so I dress him and the wife. And then the first lady the first lady, the ambassador's wife. So they were part of the committee for Thai Silk Fashion Week, right? So they take the wives of the ambassadors are the ones who form the committee that chooses the designers of their respective countries to be given this Thai silk by the queen to do a collection. Then they do it, put it on the runway and stuff like that. So the lady, she at first it started with a message. Hi, how are you? I have an opportunity for Thailand, for the designer. I've seen your work. It's very unique. And I really want to work with you. I said, this one again. Please, I hope it's not scam. Me and my research, go to the page. Chokora. Who is this?
Who is these people?
Get all the information. Do you understand? You do your research. Because you're like, why is all these things falling on my lap? It doesn't look real. So she sent me a message. She actually kept insisting we need to do a phone call. So I made time and we had a call. And she told me, I know you're busy because I've been trying to get a hold of you and there's a lot of communication, but I've gone through your page and I really want you to come and represent Kenya at the Thai Silk Fashion Week. And you know, my biggest goal that I used to tell my friends is, my main goal is to reach New York Fashion Week. I want to see my work on a runway at New York Fashion Week. So that used to be my goal. So when Thailand came and it was a fully paid trip, it was a fully paid trip with an allowance on top. And they even give you the fabric. What you needed to do is use 70% of their Thai silk, and then the 30% is how to blend it now with your local fabrics. And I think I had one of the best national costumes for that competition. We were staying with the designers in the same hotel and everybody kept asking me, we had the same hours. What time did you have to do this gown?
To do all this?
So for me, this was like a life-changing moment. And I remember even my post back then, I said, Thai is done, conquered, now let's go to New York Fashion Week. So it's something I manifested a lot. And also to maintain that, I do a lot of mini collections every year, at the beginning and at the end, or sometimes just there in the middle. Just something that elevates my craft or introduces something else that we are doing to the clients. So one day, Amanda, the stylist, calls me and says, hey, Kate, Mambo, there's somebody who wants us to have a designer meeting. So we're going to meet me, you, Akina Yvonne, Akina Philbert. So it was like a stylist and designer meeting. And Kate introduced us to Miss Nyokabi Munyaka. And she has partners that they have a company that brings people for New York Fashion Week, right? So they have their own show within the slots for New York Fashion Week. Yeah, and that's how I got to New York came. It came and found me, and I was ready. It found me ready. I was ready for the opportunity. Yeah.
How was it?
It was nice. It was really, really nice. So it was a very, very eye-opening. It was an eye-opening experience because one, you study a new market. You get to learn what do they want to buy, you know. And I realized there's a niche. There's a serious niche, not necessarily for Ankara, but for ready-to-wear outfits that actually stand out. Yeah, there's a big niche for that. And I wanted to say something, but the Americans, if they see this, they will come out and finish me. They don't really know how to sew. Yeah. So it is us who are sewing for them.
Yes, but I really do. I think for them, they're more into ready to wear.
Yes, they really love ready to wear. Yeah, so I also wanted to show my expertise in bringing the gowns because I'm a gowns person. So I made gowns for the runway and I showed them a bit of diversity. And also another thing that I loved about the New York experience was to meet my clients. You know, I always ship things to America. I ship things to America a lot. I know even my UK clients are on my neck. Kate, come to the UK. When are you coming? You know, so it was a good opportunity to meet my clients at their base. And then now from there, you kind of understand what they want. And let me tell you, America is big on customer service. That was one thing that was a really big eye-opener. America is huge on customer service. So now I kind of understand how my clients who come to Kenya say, Kate, cannot be sitting at your reception and waiting. You know, you have to go above and beyond a little bit in your service. So that was a big takeaway from my American trip. Yo, it was big. Let me tell you, everywhere, everybody was polite. Every single person I met. Whether they like you or they don't like you, they will look at you like that, but they will smile. And you'll feel welcome. Yeah.
So you've dressed so many people, high-level people. Who would you say was you had? I don't want to say you've dressed best, but you had best interaction with.
Locally or international?
Either, or you
I
can
think
do locally and
for me,
international.
locally, my best muse locally is Ambari, for sure. And then my next best muse is Yemi Alade. That woman, I've never seen humility like that. Like, I met Yemi through Wambui Thimba, the stylist. And I've done pieces that we even call the Yemi jacket, the Yemi. Like, because those, they sold as from Yemi's, you know, collection. It's been a joy working with Yemi, let me not lie, because she's very thorough and detailed in what she wants. And another thing, she will pay you and she will still tag you on top. She's paying you and she's tagging you. Leave these ones, they will not pay and they'll still not tag you. So it's been, honestly, I thank Nani Wamboi for introducing me to Yemi. That was wow. We've sat down and ate. Like you find, like can't even talk. Yemi is top tier. I loved working with Yemi, yeah.
Speaking of influencership, we know most of us use influencers to sort of like propel our brand or to bring us newer clientele. How has that been for you, influencer marketing?
Okay, so for me, working with influencers has been sweet and also bitter. So there's two sides, right? So when I say when you meet an influencer, okay, let me just refer back to the point where I said sometimes you need a break from your clients.
You need a break from influencers.
Sometimes you need a break from even from somebody that you work with long term, because it reaches a point you cross boundaries and you become too familiar, and then they forget that this is where you eat from, and you need your credits, you need your acknowledgement, you know, things like that. So yes, working with influencers is really good. Even celebrities is really good because it gets your name and your visibility. But you have to be intentional with what works for your brand, right? Some people might have the influence. No, some people might be influencers but don't have the influence. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like somebody is an influencer with numbers, but they cannot influence people to come and purchase from your store. And it's not a them thing. It's from their content and what people consume from their content, right? Because some people, their followers, the people they can influence is not necessarily your target market. Yeah. So you have to be very, very intentional about what are your targets and what are your goals. Who will get you to the eyes that you need? So for me, I realized the big influencers can propel your name to get to a wider audience, right? But it doesn't necessarily bring you the clientele that you need for your brand. And it's good to not sign long-term or get into long-term relationships with influencers. You'd rather do short-term influencing and studying back and seeing the impact. Very important. Do a small partnership, see the impact, then renew or reboot
The contract.
the contracts or the partnerships, right? That is very, very big. It's a big key and my biggest takeaway from working with different influencers. Yeah. So
And
you have to move with a clear
strategically.
eye. Yeah, move with a clear eye. Yeah.
And you're not afraid to calling out influencers that
I beg.
that don't or that mess with your business.
Yeah. I don't play those games because I'm a luxury brand designer. So for me to even release anything from my store, it costs money. Or for even me to produce anything, it costs a lot of money that comes out of pocket. So I expect the same respect back, you know. If you value somebody's work and business, you must give them a tag from the first moment because the first contact is the most important. You can say, oh, I was working on sharing, blah, 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 but that first opportunity is missed.
True.
Yeah. And I take my work so serious that if you're playing with me, I will call you out. Don't play with my brand. This is my generation. We're building our wealth. You know, and if it's a partnership, it must be mutual. There must be a mutual understanding on what goes on. So now that takes me to a point of don't work with anybody without a contract. Have a lawyer write you something that safeguards your interest and also safeguards their interest, because also them, they don't need to be tied down to your brand, because if they move on from your partnership and they're going to work with somebody else and you're still using their image to promote something that they're going to, do you understand, there's always a conflict of interest. And it, when you have contracts, it helps you safeguard your interests and their interests, you know. So before even you do these small partnerships, they'll tell you, oh, let's do something, let's do partnership, have your paperwork ready for everybody to sign, so that you safeguard your interest. And that's one thing that I really learned in moving with a lot of the influencers and creatives. Yeah, but we're no longer doing those partnerships, so please don't send me a DM.
You're no
We
longer
are not
working
doing
with.
partnerships. I will pay anybody that I work with. I will pay you, please. I'm not giving anything out for free. No. Pay me my service if you need my service. And I offer definitely above and beyond.
So as a business, as a growing business, how important is it to have a financial partner?
For me, when it comes to business, when I started, my husband was my esponyo then. But as you grow the business and you want to elevate, sometimes what you have cannot sustain even your family to a point that you coming back inside your pockets, right? So for me, when I started, I went and registered with KCB because it was closest to the business, right? I didn't even know much about the bank. I just said, it's the closest bank to my shop. Let me go there, right? So I went to Prestige and registered a KCB account. And over the years, right, I've taken my car for a quick loan at the bank. And KCB had been supportive of that. And I realized how to grow my relationships with the bank is by starting with taking these loans, right? So I'll take my loans with KCB and I'll pay them back. I'll take my loans and pay them back. There's a year, I think early 2023, these guys called me and said, Kate, you come, we give you 10 million. I say, people, I'm mad. So building a relationship with your bank, and for me, my financial partner is KCB, they've really held my hand. And this year, you know, this is my 10th year in business, and I was lucky enough, because I used to wonder, and I used to tell my bank manager, hey, people can't even dash me small money, support me somewhere. So this year they had a golf tournament and they invited me to exhibit. And trust you me, I met some really impressive CEOs there, and I was like, wow. And for the bank to offer me a platform for free, carried my stuff and went and displayed, and it took me to the right audience where I want to reach. I was super impressed, man. And for me, it has really helped me with getting loans, paying loans, even advice.
Was your 10 million unsecured?
Unsecured. Unsecured. Because KCB, I think, and the government, they have this thing where women, any business that is owned by a woman can easily get unsecured loans, as long as you're banking with them and your account is good. Imagine being called to take 10M. Like, I was like, no, you were kidding me. They said, no, come, it's unsecured, because they offer me insurance. My business is insured under KCB. My cars are insured under KCB. So they literally have all my paperwork. So what I did, I went and took a lesser loan. The one I can manage, the one that I needed. So I went and took 3M, and all I had to do was go and sign paperwork. And that time, immediately I took that loan. In 2 weeks, I fixed my shop. I elevated it from a to a. So yeah, so having a financial partner that you work with is extremely important. And you must be loyal, by the way, to get those packs. You know, you have to see where your loyalty lies. Yeah, so me, I've had a good time with KCB. They've really sorted a girl out. Yeah.
Nice. So when you're making a dress, what is usually the thought process, especially one that do you sit down with the client and have a vision with them?
So for me, one thing that I'm big on is not doing a copy paste of anything, right? So always clients will come with their vision. Most times they come with their vision. Sometimes they have no vision. And with my years of experience, I've realized what I nowadays do is read my client. I will read them according to what I show them and how they react. They'll say, oh, actually, I like this. Or, it looks okay. So it's very important to read. For me, I first read my client. And my client is my priority. So I will ask a lot of questions, right? And when I see me and this client are not going anywhere, tutapiga story. Let me know who you are. I start asking you personal questions. So I can kind of understand who you are as a person. And once I understand who you are and how you actually want to look, then it's easy for me to dress you. Because I've had clients who are not loud like I am, who don't want the bling like I love, right? And it takes me a while. I sit down and kind of understand where they're coming from and learning your client first. And I always make sure I put them first before myself. So once I've learned who you are, and I'm seeing, and if I start seeing there's pushback, then we have to pick a story. Uniambie why you don't want to stand out. You know, I must know why. So after that, then we design. Yeah, so that's always my thought process. The next thing, I emphasize on my client waist. Irrespective of the silhouette you do, I emphasize on your waist. It doesn't have to be a corset, by the way. Especially nowadays, I realize people want to be snatched, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. Right? Then you have to offer the right amount of advice. Some clients will tell you, me, I wear corsets. There's a client who told me, I wear corsets. Say, what is a corset? Well, we removed all the bonding. So, and I realized we missed a step. You missed a step. So you must ask, what type of corset do you get? So you have to ask all the right questions to kind of get who your client is. So now we're big on giving value according to the comfort of the client. Yeah. And elevating and I realized a woman is just her waist. Once I give you this,
The rest is
it doesn't
fine.
matter which shape you're working with or how tight or loose your outfit is. Let me just give you your waist. That's it. That's the only gift I can give you. Yeah.
Speaking of corsetry, you do a lot of corsets.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that, if in case I want a corset dress, that I should look out for, or one tip you can give people when they're choosing their corset dresses?
One is, do you wear corsets on a daily? Are you somebody who does core exercises? Right? Because like me, I don't sit with my stomach. Nikae nimejiachilia. I always have my tummy tucked in.
Even when you're just sitting normally.
Yes. I don't release my stomach. Just holding in your breath a little bit. Just to hold your core in. So if you're not somebody who if you've never worn a waist trainer, there's no way I can give you a full 360 corset. Do you get? So there's different types of corsets. So you need to know that as a designer. I can't give somebody a full corset who has never worn a waist trainer. A full corset iko na watu wenyewe. Mtu meatenda gym, atavaa corset, atavaa faja. You know, that's somebody who understands that they want to be shaped in. Then I'll give you the full corsetry. But then there are those who are there's introduction. Yeah.
To corsets.
And there's different ways to now do it that doesn't make it uncomfortable. We have cracked the code. If you are my client last year,
Come
come
back.
we renew, we are renewing the contract. Come this year. We've done amazing stuff. Like that's why I say every time I learn from every experience, I learn something with my clients. Like actually this works. And then we have conversations with my team. Did you see how that corset sat? Do you see how? Because then one feedback I get from a client, even those I have a 360, they will sit down comfortably. My client, the only thing is when you wear a corset, you sit up. You can't slouch, right? But you'll have a very comfortable fitting. You will sit down, you will dance, you will shake your nyash. No, but nothing do you. So it's cracking the code on how to make it comfortable. And by taking that Vicky James masterclass, it was a serious eye-opener. And I remember when I did the interview, but when we did now testimonials from Vicky James masterclass, the one thing I went there to do is learn my why. Why does she do ABCD? And why does somebody do ABCD? When you learn the why, then you satisfy every other need that comes to doing your corsetry. Then you tweak it to what suits your client. So then you don't have to copy paste what she's doing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that people don't understand. They'll see, Kate ameshona hii nguo hivi. Let me zoom. Ana copy. Anaungua. And me, I've done my own secrets inside. You don't know. Yeah. Even a tailor who worked for me in January, that's not with the team that's working for me now. They're on different
They
levels.
will not understand.
Because we train each other and we teach each other things every other day. And when it comes to even technology and things like that, I always buy things that is easier. That's why I also started the other business called tailoring accessories. So tailoring accessories carries all these accessories that a tailor can purchase to make their work easier. From appliques that are ready, then you don't have to do from scratch. I have flowers that are ready, you don't need to create from scratch. I have things that make your work easier. I have footers that you can stitch on beaded fabrics. I'm even working on a new one that I just saw the other day that breaks down all the machines, all the beads, and then you just stitch on top. Like I keep checking what is fresh and new in the market. We have to be industry leaders. We work as industry leaders and we are not following anyone.
You've mentioned that you've taken classes with the likes of Vicky James. How important is elevating your craft and learning for you? Because you've steadily mentioned that as a business, you're always learning.
Yes.
How important is it for even an upcoming business to always invest in their skills?
Yeah. You know, one, how you'll know you always need an elevation when you're stuck. You're making the same revenue, you're serving the same clientele, and your income is not increasing. But you know expenses will always keep adding up,
Yeah.
right? So what I did is I learned how to scale up. And how do you scale up? By doing your research, by seeing what's new in the market and not staying stuck. So what are your client demands for? You know, what do your clients want? And then you focus on that and then you grow on that, right? And it's very key that you feed your market first. Because if I do my business looking at what other designers are doing, I will fail because I'm satisfying a need that doesn't pertain to my immediate market, right? Or the market that I aspire to be, right? So you see, like now, when 2020, from 2020, my biggest goal has been to push my brand globally. So I'm constantly looking for things that will expose my brand to where it needs to be. So I can't stay stuck feeding the one market, right? When you realize people can easily copy your work and do it locally, it might not be the best, but to them is, why go to African Fabric and you can get the same on this place at cheaper cost. But they don't understand what it gets to create that. It can never be the same source, right? So what my biggest achievement has been, or my biggest focus has been elevation. Bringing in new things, new technology, just everything new to grow.
Nigeria has been the talk of the world at the moment in terms of fashion.
Yeah.
Do you think as Kenyans or even as Africans, we are where they are right now? or we are almost there, where would you place us against Nigerian fashion?
Okay, so from a truth point, Kenya has big potential. It has big, big, big potential. And why the Nigerian market is moving as fast as it is, one, population. Two, support. Nigerians consume Nigeria. While Kenyans, when they make money, they no longer want to consume Kenya. They want to consume outside. And they will gladly vouch for an outside market as opposed to what is here locally. Right? Because I know for a fact that there are brands, like there are brands that are not loud on social media, fashion design brands that are not loud, they're not making noise on social media, but they are really good at their craft, right? So you'll find that a Kenyan would rather go and make their wedding gown in Nigeria, but here locally, we have exceptional talent in making all those classic gowns. And they're not even so loud on social media, but if you do your research, they're there. Do your research, right? So the big brands that can give you those same values as Nigerians, and they actually charge the same. All these gowns that people go to buy in Nigeria for $2,000 and above can be made here. Do you get? And you have the headache of sending measurements, the cloth comes, it doesn't fit, you start looking for somebody to adjust for you. Who will not do. So that is the biggest outreach. The same way you see Willy Paul was saying, Muni support nita grow. If Kenyans consume Kenya, imagine there's nowhere we won't reach. You see how toxic we are on social media, and somebody says, somebody should just breathe the Kenyan way. They immediately become viral. On all platforms, right? To bash those people. But what about when we need support? Like, let me give you an example. Miss Kenya was in India, right? The only time the blogs posted Miss Kenya was to say what? This is her national costume. This is what they did this time. To look for, oh, it's good or bad, right? So it had a buzz, right? Good or bad, it doesn't matter. But where is the follow-up? Where is the follow-up from the blogs? If you check, all these other blogs in other countries supported their talents. Supported their talents. I would see in comment sections, oh, I know I'm from Kenya, but I'm voting for Cameroon. Like, come on. Why do we do that? If Kenyans, the way we are loud, we will go for this, we will go and download that app and vote for Miss Kenya. Should have been top 40. Straight. That was a straight entry. But what did we do? I want to vakitenge sana. Toa hizo head beads. Do this. Like the ridicule. The ridicule was much.
So you feel like it's a us problem?
It's a Kenyan problem. Musa Port. You know, Nigerians rally for their people, even if they are not good. Outside, they will make sure nobody outside is shouting much. They will say, no, this one has tried. Leave them, they have tried. But they're supporting their own. Right? So once we get the local support, if Kenyans abroad are saying, no, I'm making my outfits from Kenya, then they go to an event, it has all these Africans. They will ask, oh my God, your dress looks nice. Where did you make it? Kenya, Kenya, Kenya. Let me tell you, out here, you go and say, hi, I'm a Kenyan fashion designer. Kenya has no fashion. Why? Because we're not pushing the agenda.
When you say we are toxic as a country, because even with the recent Juma Juk's wedding, we had Kenyans going there, and the feedback was not pleasant. So do you think from us being critics, that when we criticize, if something is bad, is that a bad thing?
No, you can't criticize bad things, right? But do it with style. Yani mnenda paka kwa the blogs za huko. Muna diss watu wenyu times two. Mweke huko kwa stories yenye itapotea. Sawa. But don't expose our people like that. We know we are still growing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows we are still learning these things. And we're so used to managing. Another truth is we're used to managing. We manage a lot. We manage, like our expectations, the bar is low. It's a loba, right? So we just need to, and let me tell you a funny story. You see a lot of people who are criticizing those outfits. If you try to even put them in something remotely close, people who are saying, no, it was too basic, try and put them in that elevated look. Everybody will say it's too much. Hey, it's too much. Hey, Kate, it's too much. And let me tell you, we feed the market what the market demands most of the time. You feed the market what the market demands. Because one of the comments that you see in a lot of the blogs when somebody has done their wedding, you'll see somebody going on TikTok, oh, why are Kenyans wearing all these Nigerian clothes? Why are Kenyans wearing West African clothes, right? But as somebody who has a business that offers everything from Africa, everybody in Kenya wants to be different. Everybody admires what they see is popular. And everybody has a vision of how they see themselves getting married. So it's up to, now when people come to us as designers or tailors or whatever, they already have their notion. And some people want to stick to their guts. They'll say, no, 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 me, I don't want anything that's too much. Or I don't want something that goes overboard. Or I want something simple. And this is a bride. So you as a designer have to ask yourself, is this a client you can take or not? Because you have that option. Right? Because for me, I reject a lot of orders, not from a point of pride, but from a point of what is my vision for my brand and who is my target client, right?
You've denied people?
I deny service sometimes, yes, because you see, the person is not understanding your creativity, right? And you start a business when you want to be fulfilled, financially, emotionally, and creatively. Because you will reach a point where you feel like you're stuck. Because you keep making the same things over and over and over again. It's redundant, right? And then people will say, oh, Kenyan designers, what are you making? You're making the same things. There's no creativity. You look, it's the same across board. You have the option of being a creative and doing the right thing. Right? So also as creatives, we need to see where are we pushing the boundaries versus where are we staying stuck. Do you get? So that is you telling yourself the truth as a creative. Kuna mahali unaweza bant. Na kuna mahali ufai kubant. Do you get? So, and we see with the recent conversations, a lot of conversations, paka you make influencers not want to go to these events. But sometimes you find that you people are not paying them well. That's why I was saying there's a lot of management. Tuna manage to. You go as an influencer, 10 of you bid. Sawa. Everybody will bid according to where they see themselves. Me as a fashion designer, the amount of times I get, oh, let's do a collaboration. I don't need any money from you. Why? Why? I will make money from your image. Why are you offering me free service? Don't do that. Because you might become popular but broke. You can't even afford to go to these events that they're inviting you to. So don't allow yourself to be overexposed to things that you know will be up for criticism and your mental health will be messed up. So have people pay you your worth and see yourself bigger than... Like for me, from when I started this brand, I've never been at the same price point as most designers that I even found in the market. I always tried to see the vision in front. And by price point, I mean offering value for what the client is paying, right? And most times, even when you corset a customer, you call and ask for feedback, right? And you do your follow-ups. And if they want to be compensated in terms of new looks, you offer the same. And if they choose not to, it's on them. Right? Because they have the option to reject your service completely, right? But you also have the option of overextending yourself. So creativity is relative. Today you might be in your most creative form. The next time you're creating with somebody, you're not feeling it. Because it's personal, right? And also the same thing I say with influencers. Please have a rate card that actually makes sense. Get managers. Have somebody represent you. When you want to go into the influencing gig, before you even start, get a lawyer, an accountant, and know their fees. Know everybody's fees.
But you see, all this gate is expensive.
It's,
You see?
wait, let me tell you. Approach a law firm. Say, hi, I'm an influencer. If I want to get services from you in terms of getting contracts, how much are you charging me? They tell you. You go to the next person. If I want you to manage me, how can we partner? How can we mutually benefit? Then the manager will say, for every gig I book for you or every client I talk to you and it is successful, I get this cut from you. That's somebody who's intentional in partnering. Not telling somebody to manage you. I want you to manage me. How are they managing you? Do you know how to manage yourself? Do you know what your goals are? You are just everywhere. Everything they invite you, you're inside. You
But
don't,
at the same time, Katie said the influencer market in this country does not pay well.
it doesn't pay well.
Okay, so to
But it's not paying well because they undercut each other. That's the reason they are not paid well. So if you have a standard and your standard is 1 million per gig, and then somebody has a lower standard, gives a lower rate of 250, and then the client comes back to you and say, you know, you're expensive, so you reduce your price to 250 like so and so. And you know that 1 million that you are asking the client to pay, you will pay A, you will pay B, you will pay 3, you will pay C, so that your content is in the value. And then you go and change yourself to 250 because somebody quoted 250, and that's what now the client says you should charge.
But you see, now you want a job because you don't know where your next meal is coming from.
There's so many sources of income as an influencer. There's so many platforms and avenues that pay revenue. Create your content yourself and get paid by these avenues. Because you don't need to have a smart camera to record videos.
You can use your phone.
You don't need to have a professional camera. You can use your phone. That your Android that you're using, that your iPhone that you're using, can still get you quality content. Just learn how to edit yourself. Do you understand? People like, they're influencers who are seasoned and they do the editing by themselves and they show people how to do this. And then tomorrow you make some money, you have some savings, and there's an influencer offering you a class on how to package yourself as an influencer, and you say, hiyo pesa yote siwezi lipa, mimi nipeane pesa huko. With you and your jealousy, you have sat there, you have not grown, you've not done research, you're still stuck and are charging yourself. Then you want to go to an event and not get your value. They are broke. Most of them don't have the money to afford some of these luxury items. So they can only wear what they can afford at the moment because it's expensive to attend these events.
Yeah.
You pay makeup, wakuje kwako weke nywele. Will you give free hair?
No.
Will you do free install? Do you understand? So everybody's running a business, especially in this economy. Everybody's running a business. We have employees. You cannot pay your landlord with exposure. You cannot pay your electricity bill with exposure. So now you as an influencer need to step up your game. So how do you ensure clients come back to you? That one client that if you're starting, that one client you get, offer one, loyalty and really good service. That everywhere just screams that person is efficient.
But you see, with our industry, or what I have noticed is that we keep jumping from one thing to the other, and I usually say it confuses the customers or the clients. They really don't know where to
place you.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you have a target market that's all over the place.
Yeah.
That you cannot even influence.
So when it comes to influencing, especially in the fashion industry, you have an influencer that today their dress is being made here, they move here. From what you said, they're looking for the next check to curb that. And I feel like when you do that, it sort of like confuses the audience at the same time.
You are not offering value to the person who you're
Yes.
partnering with. Yeah. Because that's a very big key. Because for me, I want if I'm working with someone, because a lot of times Kenyans don't read captions. It takes a while for you to actually ensure that that person as an entity, when they see them, they see your business. You see me, you see my business. Do you understand? So that's what an influencer ideally is supposed to offer. And for you to attain such a level, you need to have loyalty, right? But how do you also align yourself to a brand that's also loyal to you and your income, you know? So you figure it out. It's a lot. That's why you need the different branches of businesses that you can talk to somebody and you tell them, if you offer me this service, this is a cut. If you offer me this service, this is a cut, you know. Because people are also willing to do that. Not necessarily everybody you have to pay upfront. Do you get?
Yeah.
That's also another thing.
What's the longest it has taken you to make a dress?
Oh, yo. There's a dress that took me 3 months.
Mm.
And that was in 2022.
Mm.
Was it 2020? 2022, I think, yeah. We bidded that dress for 3 months. Every single day there was somebody on that dress.
Mm.
It had small, like really tiny beads to the very biggest size of beads. And each had to have a unique placement. That was, yeah, that took me a while. But it was a standout. It was a Kenyan getting married to a Nigerian. And we did the dancing. We nailed it. Kabisa, kabisa. Yo, happy clients.
So, where do you see African fabrics in like 10 years, or what is the vision?
Number one vision for the brand is one. I get a lot of DMs of teaching, right? And I've had experiences where I've tried to employ consultants and employees of people who've actually studied fashion, and they didn't even understand the basic thing as taking measurements. Yeah. I have employed somebody from the universities, graduates in fashion and design, and they couldn't take proper detailed measurements of a client. I was shocked. So what are they teaching you? And because of that, we want to start our own fashion school this year.
Good
Like
job.
a proper one. Like my school will have, I'll make sure my students have everything. From the machines you use, you don't have to come with anything except
Your brain.
your motivation. The only thing I'll need from my students is a motivation to succeed and motivation to be the best. By the time we start the school, I will offer the student everything holistically. Because like even now, right, I can give you an example. I have an intern and I asked her, and she's in university, right? She's almost graduating.
In fashion school?
Yes. And please, I'm not taking internship opportunities. Don't send emails. This was a special request from somewhere. So she couldn't identify, she couldn't realize that fabric is key in choosing a design for a client. And she was mixing leather with satin. And I asked her, in school, you're not taught about fabric and how fabrics, what works and what doesn't work. Because if you don't understand fabrics, you'll make a whole lot of mistakes in this industry. Fabric is key. The right fabric can make, or it can elevate your fabric or make it, or your outfit, or make it look very, very cheap. And that's the one thing a lot of people in the Kenyan industry also do not understand, especially a lot of the upcoming ones. They just want to do because everybody is doing, you know. Even the ones who are doing ready to wear. Like now, if you go to TikTok, there's a lot of young girls who are making a lot of money from fashion. And they're doing a lot of ready-to-wear brands. But are they really positioned to understand the market? Or they're just doing something because, oh, I saw this one doing it and she's successful. Let me put my price slightly lower and copy her work. That's what is happening in the fashion industry. Do you understand? So if you look at all these clothes, most of these fashion brands are selling the same thing. But one is cheap, one is expensive. But if you look at the two clothes, there's a huge difference. Who is the originator? Because she has used her skills. She has gone and bought the best finishing. She's working on her finishing. Her machines are giving her proper finishing. But no. Me, I must buy this fabric. I must go to Italy, produce cheaper, sell cheaper. But at what cost? Do you understand? Bad reviews, you know, bad relationships with clients and things like that. So you have to be very intentional when you start your fashion brand, right? So with that, it guides you on how you want to move, either as a new designer or Anyway, that's why I'm starting a fashion school. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah.
What would you tell 10-year-old kid?
Ooh. Yeah. What would I tell her? Kai, you know me, I had such a smooth childhood. I don't even know what to say. For me, when I was 10 years, I wanted, the only thing that was on my mind is marrying Prince Charming. Let me not lie. Let me not lie. That was my goal. My goal was to be a wife with children, like many children. That was
Being
my
a
goal at 10
princess.
years, you know. So at 10 years, I would tell myself that being a boss babe is key. You know, it's not Cinderella lifestyle. that you know, I always knew, you know, I want to be a billionaire. You know, and a friend of mine tells me all the time, Dr. C tells me all the time, you're going to be Kenya's biggest fashion billionaire, and I'm like, yes, babe, I claim it. I'm claiming it with my full chest. So I'll tell a 10-year-old kid that. It really pays to work on your craft. Consistency will get you far. 100%.
Nice. Thank you so much for coming to my seat, sharing your gems. It has been really insightful. What do you think about the hair?
Girl, this baby is not sleeping. Where are we going?
Where would you
We must be
ideally?
outside. They must see me. I must do one club to the next where they don't smoke shisha because they will not come and collect the scent from my. But oh my God, this is stunning. I would definitely wear this to work.
Awesome.
Definitely. This I will rock to work. And I know the compliments will be insane.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because you know, anyway, like I say, as any person in fashion and beauty, you're always the next referral to somebody. You're a high referral point.
To someone.
So for me, the number of times people ask me, where is this wig from? Bring your phone. Put Kailash.
And
She's
that's
not
actually
far.
true because we've had a lot of people
You have
come
a
here
lot,
and
yeah.
say, Kate sent me here.
Kate sent me, yeah. Because your work is amazing. And
Thank you.
look at
Thank you so
how
much,
much is
Kate.
this baby? Because
Hi, Kate.
hi.
So we're about to take you through a quick fire question segment. Are you ready?
Yes, I
First of all,
am.
you're looking so stunning.
Thank you.
Okay. So first, Ankara or Kitenge?
Ankara, baby.
What's the last thing you Googled?
Wait. Let me remember. I have a very poor memory. I googled. You know me. My Google is image based, so I put there's a mirror. I wanted to add it to my Chat GTP prompt, so I took the mirror, put it on Google, the image, and put it on Google on how to describe that exact mirror on Chat GTP, so I can put it as a detail of my design. That's the last thing I googled.
Dream vacation destination?
Ooh, anywhere I can sleep. I want to sleep. Sleep and go to the club. So for me, Ibiza, Ibiza or Maldives.
What's your guilty pleasure? A snack?
Jesus Christ. Anything that doesn't have sugar. I don't like sugar.
Nairobi traffic or wedding with no food?
Wedding with no food. Diabolical.
Confidence smells like?
Oh, a good outfit.
Which Kenyan phrase do you overuse?
Where?
That's it.
That one.
Sneakers or heels?
Heels anytime.
First thing you do when you wake up?
Pray.
One fashion trend you secretly can't stand.
People will kill me. Ill-fitting corsets.
Most random item in your handbag right now.
Dental floss.
You have 5 minutes to pack for Paris. What are you carrying?
Shoes. Only.
Pettiest reason you've unfollowed someone on Instagram.
They didn't repost my work. Fake friends, those ones. I see you.
A song that makes you feel unstoppable.
Ooh, Guy, Jesus, Mwadhani. Gospel songs, definitely. I can't pinpoint which one, but there's one. Count on Me, Whitney Houston. That's my pick me up.
One wrong assumption that people have about you.
I'm too expensive. Oh, my brand is too expensive. Not me, my brand. Why are you people like this? Come and ask me price. With reason, with sense.
One Kenyan dish you
Uh-huh.
could eat for life.
Nyama choma. Nyama. Give me meat. Nyama choma any day.
Prettiest item in your closet.
You know what? I'm not attached to anything in my. I give out everything, so I don't even know what is there. I give out. My sisters are always taking from my closet. So I wouldn't say. For me, it's shoes. Guys, me, shoes. Shoes, I have plenty. Fine, fine shoes. Fine ones.
In one word,
Uh-huh.
describe your mood today.
Excited. My friend YKTV is here. Shout out to Yvette. And look at my hair. Silale.
Slay.
I ain't sleeping, girl.
A superstition that you secretly believe in.
Come as bitch.
Finish the sentence. Kate Mayeye is,
Unstoppable.
and that's on period.
That.
So we've come to the end of our quickfire questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.